I want to tell you about a great story that happened in the recent years, and it's the story behind Instagram. Just give me a second. Okay. So, in 2012, April 12, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, and it was the biggest purchase buying ever for a mobile app. And a lot of people try to understand why and how Instagram worth so much money, especially because they have no business model. Okay? I guess most of you here either work in a business or have their own business, so it's really strange for you to understand why, and not just for you, for everyone. Why would Facebook pay $1 billion for an application that has no business model? And it was really interesting story for me as well. So I tried to research the reasons behind it. And I will tell you while presenting, I'll tell you why was I so interested in it. Okay, so we'll start. I don't have a clicker, so I will be around the computer. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And if not, you can ask me questions in the end. And I want to start by showing you this office. These are the team of Instagram, 3 of the guys. And when they were bought for $1 billion, it was a team of 10 people. That's it, okay? Only 10 people in their team. This is Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger, the 2 co-founders of Instagram. And they're sitting here in the beginning of April 2012. And these used to be the offices of Twitter, okay? Twitter got bigger, they moved to other offices, and they got their office of Twitter. It's really, in the Silicon Valley, everyone tried to be really cool and be like, it's a great story to have a office of someone else. And this picture is taken in the beginning of April, before they were bought. And on that day, they were sitting and look at the computer. And as you see, they do nothing. All they did that day is pressing the refresh button. Because what they did is Instagram was an application for iPhone since 2010, but then they got the Android version. And as you know, Android got popular a lot after the iPhone. But even when it was popular, Instagram waited a long time until they created a version for the Android phone. And when they did, some amazing statistics happened, which actually give us a hint of what's going on later on. So 1 million users on the first day of the Android version of Instagram. Okay. If you ever build a product, either internet or not internet, you know how hard it is to market and to sell to other people, and to have 1 million users in one day, this is amazing, okay? It's a record they broke, and they did refresh and they couldn't believe what they see. Even though Instagram was so popular and they knew people love it, they couldn't believe, like, they would do refresh, 200,000, 300,000, and then 1 million users in one day. And after 1 week, they had 5 million users for the Android version of Instagram. And only 1 week later, Facebook buys them for $1 billion, okay? And if you would see or you remember what was in the newspapers at that time, in Forbes and Wall Street Journal and Times and all the big newspapers, and specifically the economy newspapers, everyone was saying, this is crazy. This is crazy. Facebook did something which is not, it's not logical. Maybe they do it because they're scary. Maybe they do it because of different reasons, but this is illogical to pay $1 billion. And I think it was very logical. So the whole story would be about this amazing thing. By the way, I'm using a lot of photos in the presentation. So I'm usually writing here. This is the Instagram user that took this photo. And it's very common to use the usernames in when you show other people photos, because what internet also brought us is a new problem with copyright. Okay, so we used to know there is a picture, a photographer took it, and now you have to pay him to show a picture. Now there are a few platforms like Instagram and like Flickr and other photo platforms that you can use the photo. All you need to do is to write the name of the username. So it's a whole new market that is changing and actually had many problems done to the photographers, because now the photographers having hard time to sell their pictures. So I will give you a few words about myself to explain why it's so interesting for me, the Instagram story. So I decided, instead of giving you my degrees, etc., to show you a hint of my life. These are pictures from my Instagram feed, and I think it's very symbolic to use in the Instagram presentation, because you look at the pictures and you can imagine, and of course some of you imagine different things than my life really are, but you can imagine things, what is my life look like, and this is much more emotional than showing you words or even speaking about it, because we say a photo is 1,000 words. So if you were traveling to Israel, how many people here were in Israel? Okay, a lot, almost everyone. Who wasn't? You need to go in the middle of the winter for sure. Come visit us. So if you see the hummus, of course you can think about the hummus, and whoever loves coffee. And you can see my bike. I'm riding them almost every day. And this is a picture from my former startup, when we used to code every day. The problem that we hit refresh and we never got to 1 million users. So no one bought us for $1 billion. Of course, this is not taken in a synagogue, by the way. It's somewhere in Turkey. But it was interesting for me to see something that resembles the Magen David, even though it's not really. And I will try not to tell you too much, but I am a startup person, and Tel Aviv is a startup city, and it feels like everyone there has a startup, and it's like here everyone has great ideas. And so many people here talked with me about their ideas and what can you do, and growing up in this city makes everyone wants to do something for their own. So other than a startup, I like writing and reading, of course, much more about the technology, and not just about the bits in how technology works, but what more interests me is the history of technology. And I actually have a master's degree in history and philosophy, and maybe this is why I really like to see how things developed in the history of technology and how technology affects us. Some of you were in my seminar about the technology, and we had really nice conversations about how the new world is affecting our being. So let's start with this. This is the hardest word for an Israeli to say, and it took me a while to learn it. Let's see if I can say it. Entrepreneur. Okay, was it good? I heard that it's really hard in other languages as well, but you have to learn how to say it, at least if you want to try and get some money. And I needed to get investors in Israel, so I had to learn this word. And I want to show you something that I think for me, every entrepreneur feel it, and this is like how the world see us. Okay, so this is what my friends thinks I do. They think I'm, running like Batman and try to do some really cool stuff. That's what my mom thinks I do. She hopes. I mean, she paid for my degree in the Technion, so she hopes I'm writing equations. She has no idea I never did it. Society thinks I do. So society thinks, oh, you have a startup, maybe you're going to be like Steve Jobs, but that's not the truth. There is only one Steve Jobs, and most of us are not even close to what he gained in his life. That's the government, that's what they think I'm good for. So if you have a successful business, they will take your taxes and at least half of your money. This is what I think I do. I like to wake up in the morning and to think that the world is big and I'm going to change it, etc. But actually, this is what I really do. I'm sitting with my laptop everywhere and try to figure out what to do today and what to do tomorrow. But it's not just me, it's every entrepreneur, it's the same story. And also the nice guys that created Instagram. So let's start with the CEO, Kevin Systrom. He's a nice guy, he used to work for Google, and then in Google buy all the time small startups. And he worked in marketing. And he started to be hungry about startup because he saw how they buy more and more and more companies, and every company does a different thing. And he thought maybe one day I can do it, but he still didn't have the guts to do it. But then he moved to a company called Next Stop, and in Next Stop he did also the marketing. But he had more time to work on weekends and at nights, and he taught himself to program. Okay, he wanted to know to program. He never studied programming, so at nights and on weekends he went into these websites and he said, "Okay, I want to program, and I will start work on something." And then at some point he created an application, still working in this company called Next Up. And this application is called Bourbon, okay? It doesn't exist anymore today. This is the beginning of Instagram, okay? This Bourbon seems a bit like Facebook or many other applications we know. And you could say, you can do a check-in, like I'm right now in a cool conference in Baltics. You could say I'm here, you can say I'm there, you can put on photos. You can say I'm going to meetings. You can do a lot of things, okay? And there is a reason why I say you can do a lot of things. Because in Instagram, you can do only one thing, to share photos. But when they started, he made this Bourbon application, and then he had good friends in the Silicon Valley. And as you know, good contacts is really important, and his friends already wrote like in cool websites that Bourbon is a new application and it's so cool, and he got a lot of PR, but people didn't use it so much yet. It was mostly his friends, around 80 people. They used it and they really liked it actually. And then what happened to him was something that everyone which doesn't live in the Silicon Valley is really jealous, okay, as an entrepreneur. So in the Silicon Valley, if you go to a nice party, like he did, you can meet a nice investor, and you can go out of the party with a $50,000 check to start work on your company. So in the end of the party he went to, he met a nice investor there, and then they sat for coffee, and he gave him $50,000 to start work on Bourbon. So he quit his job, Next Stop, and he started working on the new Bourbon, and he was looking for, of course, a great team. And already within few weeks, he got a different investor to give him $500,000. Okay, so he got $500,000 to work on Bourbon. So he thought, okay, I need to get a team. I need someone with me. I need people to help me. I don't know that much about doing applications. I just started, and so he brought this guy, which he he met in his studies. Mike, he's Brazilian, and he's really good with user experience and graphic design. And he worked in a different company, and Kevin insisted that he will quit his company to go and work with him. So he quit his company, and then he had to work again on the visa because he's Brazilian. So he worked on the visa, and for 3 months they were really intense, like, he gonna get it, he doesn't gonna get it, will it happen? And then finally he got the visa, and then Kevin told him, listen, I really thought about it. I think we don't need this application bourbon. We need just to do an application for photos. And he was like, really? I just quit my job, and I did all this work to get the visa, and now you want something different else? Something really else, and the investors gave us money for something different. What do you mean, let's do just photos? But Kevin insisted, so okay, they started to do, they took the bourbon, and instead of all the features, they did just the photos. And then he explains in one of his stories that the reason was that his girlfriend at the time, she told him, listen, I don't know what your app is doing. It's doing all these things, it's doing events, etc. I want one thing. I want to look good in photos, okay? So I said, okay, if my girlfriend wants to look good in photos, I have to make an application to make her look good in photos, and that's why they focused on photos. And the first lesson we learn is to do one thing and to do it well. And a lot of startups failed because they tried to do so many things at the same time. And a lot of success stories of startups are for startups that try to do only one thing, but do it well, like Skype. As you know, Skype for many years, the main thing for Skype is to call you for free on the computer. And Skype is alive for many years. They could do so many other things, but they decided to stay and do just this one thing, but do it right. Another example is Dropbox, okay? These days, Dropbox is starting to do other things, but for many years, all they did is take your files and put them in the cloud. And that's it. But do it really good. And what it means really good is that for the user, it feels very smooth. It feels like it doesn't have to put the effort. So for example, in Instagram, I'll speak about I'll show you the app screens first in a second, because maybe some of you don't know it, but when you want to upload a photo, you know from your mobile or from your computer, it takes some time, right? Sometimes it takes like 5 seconds or 1 minute, and we don't have the patience for it. We are very we want everything to be like this. So in Instagram, after you choose the photo, you can write something, okay? But actually, they didn't care that you write something. They did it as a trick, because at the time you are writing something, they are already uploading the photo. So when you finish writing it, you click next, and the photo is up. So you think it took them like less than a second to upload the photo, but actually they did it in the time you thought, oh, what am I going to write? I'm in Riga, or here, this is my friends, etc. Twitter is the same, doing one thing for many, many years, very successful. They had an IPO not long ago. So this is lesson number 1. So let's go over the what is Instagram in few words, because probably some of you don't use it, or never used it, or never saw it. It's very simple. You take a picture, and then you choose a filter. And the filters, as you would see and as you saw in the first, in my photos, they all look very cool, very nostalgic. Like you can choose a filter from the 70s or from the 80s. And then you can see other people's photos, and you can press like. Okay, it's one button to say I like other people's photos. You can have a feed of what your friends did, and you can explore people that you don't really know. Okay, and I'm sure most of you have or use Facebook, and one big difference here is photos have no language, okay? So if in Facebook most of your friends speak the same language like you, and you have some friends which are international, in Instagram it's mostly photos, so this is international, okay? To see other people pictures of food, or of parties, or of friends, or fashion, etc., you don't need to speak the language. The connection is with the emotions. Okay, so let's try to understand the history and more reasons of what happened. So in 2010, Instagram has 100,000 users, and this is just the beginning of the iPhone. Okay, if you remember, this is quite still the beginning, and I want to explain why timing was so great for Instagram. Okay, so 2 months earlier, before Instagram went to the iStore, to iTunes, Steve Jobs is showing us iPhone 4. And why is iPhone 4 so important? Because of its camera. So you probably remember the times. Still some people do, but most of us are not. We used to go with a mobile phone in one pocket and like a real camera in another pocket. Okay, when we go to a party or to see the beach or wherever, we used to go with our camera as well. And the iPhone 4 had a really great camera. It had 5-megapixel camera, and this is the device which made so many people stop taking their camera in their pocket. So now you have only one device. So it's a great timing for creating a photo application. And it wasn't just a great camera, it had a great technology which is called HDRI. And I want to explain for a second why it is. So a lot of photos, you know, look like this, okay? Or like this. Now what's the difference? So let's say you went with your girlfriend for a vacation, right? So your girlfriend is like, hey, take a photo of me. I'm so beautiful, we're on vacation. Let's grab the moment, right? So here, you got the view, but your girlfriend is really upset because you can't see her face. So she's like, I don't like this photo, delete it. Here, she's really happy, but you can't remember where you were, right? So while going to vacation, you can picture her in your house. So what is HDRI is doing, when you press the camera, it takes 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 photos at once, and the phone is just arranging it into one good photo. So you don't even know it happens, but the phone does it. It takes like 8 really quick photos, some of them with different brightness, different contrast, and then they combine it into one good photo when you can see the view and the girlfriend. So you're happy because you remember where you were, she is happy, and you can, everyone is happy. So, I like this photo because, again, this is the new times where you don't need a camera, you know, don't need to have a camera in order to have great photos. You can just use your phone. But then why do we need Instagram? Because the iPhone has an app called Camera, and you can take photos. I mean, so I convinced you that it's really good timing for a photo app, but we already have a photo app. Why do we need Instagram for it? So for that, I want to go a bit earlier in the history. This is a camera from the 90s. Okay, it's called Lomo, and it's based on old Russian cameras that they had no features. Okay, if you remember the digital cameras, you can change the brightness, the contrast, play with the focus. Like there were all these things that you can do. This camera had no features. You just press and it takes a photo, but it had only one feature, which is filters. Okay, you could put different filters and different colors on the lens, And then you'd get really cool photos, just like in Instagram. So this is a photo taken with the Lomo camera. And if you know, again, Instagram photos, it looks like Instagram. So what happened that so many people from the 90s started to use this Lomo camera, and it started to be like a nice trend of, instead of going with my digital camera, I'm going with my Lomo camera, okay, with no features. So my pictures are much cooler, and it's not digital, and I'm special about it, and I'm very, like a trend for an underground trend. And then in 2007-8, there are already 1 million people around the world that they have the Lomo camera. Okay, it's like like some people have very specific kind of music. So there was this group of people all around the world, and they had forums in the internet, etc. They all used the Lomo cameras. So after around 2010, 2011, you can find the Lomo cameras much more mainstream. You can buy it in a lot of shops, and all the teenagers like it, and it's like a nice present for your birthday. You can buy the camera with all the different filters, and it's really exciting for the kids. But then what happens in Instagram is that you have the cool photos, but you don't need to go with the big camera again. And the filters that Instagram used look like the filters in the Lomo camera. So when they got to the App Store, there were already 1 million, at least 1 million people around the world that already was in love in this look of pictures, which are very different than what digital cameras are doing. The colors are always very nostalgic, and they drive more emotion. So Mark Anderson is the guy from Netscape, one of the first browsers, and he's saying timing is everything, but it's also the hardest thing to control, right? So you want to build a business, and then someone tells you timing is everything, but so what can you do, right? Sometimes you have the good timing and sometimes not. So Instagram had great timing because of iPhone 4, okay, again, the camera, and because they had these users from Lomo camera. But after I convinced you that they had great timing, they were not the first application to do the cool filters. Let's go a bit earlier. This camera is called Hipstamatic, okay, and it was invented by two guys in 1982, and they had a dream to do. This is like originally a Russian camera. They took the original Russian camera and they said, we want to make it from plastic and to make it that everyone can buy it really cheap. Unfortunately, they were killed in 1984 by a car accident. So they never created their dream. But what happened was that few cool people heard about it and decided to do the Hipstamatic application. Okay? And they did it 1 year before Instagram. Okay? So now we start thinking like, how come Instagram was so successful and Hipstamatic is not? And what is more strange is what I'm going to tell you now. Hipstamatic wasn't for free like Instagram. The application cost $1.99, and for each filter you got like 1 or 2 filters for free, and then for every different filter you paid $1, 99 cents. Okay? And it was a great success. They had a lot of users. So let's do some math. If you want to download, Instagram is for free, Hipstamatic is $2. Extra filters are free in Instagram. Revenue per user was $8 for the Hipstamatic users. And in 2010, when Instagram just started, Hipstamatic was already out for 1 year, and they had more downloads. Okay, so you can do the math, and you can see that they really made money. Okay, real money, real dollars. So why the hell, if you do the calculation, Instagram was bought for $1 billion and not Hipstamatic, right? What is the difference between them? So, I mean, Hipstamatic had in 2010, 2011, $10 million revenue, okay? So we don't get it. Again, as business people, we don't understand why it is. So when I discovered this, I wanted to know even more. What is so successful for Instagram? And it was bought for $1 billion. So let's try to understand one more concept. Can someone read it for me in Yiddish? Can you read it loud, someone?
Mit den Tuches kann man nicht tanzen auf zwei Chesnas.
Yeah, and what does this mean? That you can't dance in two weddings at the same time, right? So, this is what my, well, my mom is from Lithuania, but when I speak about Instagram, I always say Polish mom, because it's more common to say a Polish mom. And my Polish mom is very Jewish Polish mom, so she wanted me to be an engineer, etc. And she always told me that I shouldn't dance in two weddings at the same time, because since I was a kid I liked to dance in two parties at the same time. And she also told me that I shouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. So she tried to make me very safe, right? And do not to take risks, etc. But this is not how it works for entrepreneurs. You really need to take risks. And what is the really, really big risk that the guys from Instagram took? They didn't do a photo application. They did a new social network. Okay? And this is a huge difference. And why is it such a big risk? When they started, all of these and many others were already out there. There are so many social networks out there in the internet and on mobile that saying I want to do a new social network, you have to be a bit crazy. And Instagram didn't do, this is the huge risk they took, they didn't do just a photo application, they did a new social network. So I'll try to explain. What they understood is that the photo application is for the Y generation. Okay, Y generation is these ages 18 to 30 or 25 to 35. And in the new generation, maybe some of you are, or if you have small kids, you know it, taking a picture is nothing if you don't share it. Okay? People don't just take pictures to take pictures. People take pictures today so they can share it on Facebook or whatever. And they really understood it, okay? So for them, it wasn't where you can take photos. Instagram was where you can share photos, okay? It's a small difference, but that's what made them so much better than Hipstamatic. So let's compare the both. Hipstamatic was the best camera app, okay? What's the problem with being the best camera app? That tomorrow morning, someone else can make an even better camera app. Where Instagram was the best mobile social network, okay? It's really hard to make an even better social network because when people start using it, they want to stay in it. They already have friends, they already have photos. It's hard for them to go on. In Hipstamatic, you could share your photos, but you would share them on Facebook or an email. In Instagram, you share them inside Instagram. So it made people stay there and go there over and over to check the new photos. Let's see if the sound works, and I want to show you a short video. This is Steve Jobs, in case someone is not sure. Oops. Let's try again.
Now, I actually think what an interesting paradox is, it is the network which is ultimately going to define and create the home computer market, not keeping our recipes on these things or something like we thought in 1975. Being a part of that network and not being able to stay away from it while you're at home will drive people to get computers in every house, just like we have a telephone in every house.
But computers then won't be just computers, they'll be radios and stereos and TVs.
No, I think they'll be just computers. Just like your phone isn't your television set. Just like your toaster isn't your radio. I think there'll be computers, and they'll have many of the capabilities of these other devices. Multimedia, the ability to integrate sound and video in with the computer, is absolutely coming. But a lot of people have mistaken it as the end rather than the means. We see multimedia as more of a means. In other words, people aren't going to buy a computer for multimedia. They're going to buy it for training, or they're going to buy it for interpersonal communication. And in that communication, in addition to text, they're going to want voice. They're going to want, potentially, I might want to send you a video clip. But the real market is to help us communicate better, or to help us train somebody. And we need to not lose sight of that.
I want to get your thoughts on the...
Okay, so what Steve Jobs, it's funny to see it from 1990 because so many things changed and our phone is now our TV and radio and everything, but what's so interesting, this smart guy understood at that time is that you don't buy a computer to have a computer, you buy a computer so you can communicate with others. And the same smart philosophy is what is a big difference between Hipstamatic and Instagram. You don't take photos to take photos, you take photos for a new way to communicate with other people. So Hipstamatic had really great features, but Instagram helps communicate with the world. So they took big risks, and it was working for them. It doesn't always work. And then, this is from 2012. Hipstamatic is going down, 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 and it didn't help them that they had so much revenues, the $10 million in 2011, 2010. They had to get most of their workers away, and Instagram just beat them. So let's understand one more concept that Instagram was really smart doing, which is to make people stand in line. Okay, if you go to the city center and you want to get to a really good restaurant or to a really good club or to a really good cafe, and you see people stand in line, you know it's better because something inside is attracting. You don't know what's the food, you don't know what is going on, but when you just see people stand in line, it's probably going to be better. And what they did is that they created the line. They created people standing in line with the Android version. They could make the Android version at the day that Android was out. But they waited, and they waited, and they waited, until the people with Android were so excited about it, they stood in line for so much time, and that's why in the first day they had 1 million new users. So this is another really good trick that they did. And who did it before them? Facebook. So this is the Facebook, it used to be called The Facebook, before it was Facebook. That's the page from 2004, that's how it looked. And The Facebook, they created they were the first to create this concept of waiting in line. So as you probably know, they started with only colleges. In 2004, you had to be in an American college, and they went one by one and added more colleges to the list. And then in 2005, they allowed people from high schools, and only in 2006 they allowed everyone else. But at the time, in 2006, everyone already heard about it, so when they opened the platform, everyone was clicking it. So in the club, everyone is cool, at least that's how it looks from the outside. Sometimes you wait in line and then the food is not that great. But they made their customers feel special, and this is really important. Okay, I don't know if you know this application. It's called Draw Something, and it was really big a year ago. It had so many downloads and everyone used it. A lot of people around the world used it, and that's another very important lesson about what Instagram did. Instagram is what you call an open platform. Okay? What is an open platform? It means that Instagram let you play with the photos. If you have a different website, you can play and take the data from Instagram and play with the photos. Okay? Draw Something was really big. It was an application when you draw a picture and your friend has to guess what is the picture. But they weren't an open platform like Instagram, they were a closed platform. And the difference is that after they had so many downloads, you couldn't send the photo to anyone and you couldn't use the photo anywhere, which means that after people had enough, they stopped using it. While in Instagram, there are so many things you can do. So let's see a few examples. This is a website that just let you enjoy Instagram on the web. This one lets you take a few photos and make a slideshow. In like one click, you take 6 photos and you have a slideshow. This is a device they put in parties. It's not Instagram, it's different companies. A company bought something, you connect it to your Instagram, you're in a party, people take pictures, and then you can print the real pictures. This is called Boobstagram. I'm not going to tell you what's in it, but you can search for it. So an open platform will really help you get more users, because all these cool things, like the parties and the Boobstagram and all of these, had more people get to Instagram, even people that didn't have Instagram. And then they hear about Instagram and they are like, hey, what it is, and do I want to use it, and get you new users. So we're getting close to the end, and I want to summarize the lessons we learned from the story of Instagram, and then I will say something totally different. So they did one thing and they did it well. They had a really good timing. They took big risks and they won. They made their users feel special, stand in line and then be really happy to be inside. They were an open platform, okay? So that's why they were sold for $1 billion. I want to show you. Did you see the movie of Facebook, the social network?
Yes.
Most of you did. Okay. So I will show you a funny parody they made, a short video they made of what would happen if instead of Facebook, it was Instagram. Okay, and it's nice because again these are these were then used after Instagram was bought for $1 billion. So this is from Forbes, and it's a bad investment. They write it's a bad investment, and then CNET write for what? Again, they have a lot of users, but there is no business model. No one is paying for the app, so why paying so much? So one idea that people had, that Facebook were really afraid of Instagram. Okay, Facebook has a lot of features, and still the most popular feature in Facebook is still sharing photos. So Facebook thought, hey, if everyone would start sharing photos in Instagram, not in Facebook, this is scary, okay? So one reason to buy them is just, you buy your competitor, and now you don't have a competitor anymore. A different reason was that Facebook, at the same year, went to the stock market, okay? They had an IPO, and they had nothing really successful in 2012 in the mobile. Now there's a really good Facebook mobile application, but if you remember a few years ago, it was great on the web, but it wasn't strong for the mobile. And they had to explain to investors, like investors today, you wanna be in the stock market, and they ask you, where's your mobile platform? So they bought Instagram, and then they could just say, oh, we have so many users on mobile, right? It's what you write in the document. It's not correct, but it's a good explanation for them to be the mobile. And here's the money. Okay, let's see why there's so much money in Instagram, even though there is no actual business model. So there's a nice website, you can go and check it, and you put in your Facebook profile, and they tell you how much money you're worth for Facebook. And what does it mean? So in my Facebook, I input a lot of data. They know who are my friends, and what are the brands I like, and they know when I buy if I did like for the Nike page, and they know if I go to a specific restaurant because I would write there, oh, I went to this restaurant, etc. And they have so much data on me, and they sell it. Who do they sell it to? To advertisers, okay? So Nike can spend money, so I will see the ad for Nike, but Reebok will not put the ad on my wall maybe because they know I'm a huge fan of Nike, so I would never buy Reebok or Puma. So this is how much I worth for Facebook. And if you think about it, Instagram has a lot of data as well, okay? And not just data that I have on Facebook, it's different data. It's much more private. It's what do I do in a dinner with my friends, okay? It's where I'm going to a vacation, so they can see from my location that I'm in vacation in Riga right now. And I took a photo of the beach, so they know I'm a big fan of the beach. And there's so much data about me that they can have from my Instagram account. And as soon as they buy Instagram, they buy all the data of the users. So it's worth much more than $1 billion. If you do the calculation, they have now more than 100 million of users, okay? And if you try as an advertiser, I don't know if one of you tried to do a Facebook campaign or whatever, but very easily you pay Facebook $50 or $100 or $1,000 to get to specific people that like specific thing. Okay, let's say you want to market this junction, the Baltic Network conference. You can do a campaign on Facebook and say, I want people who said they were in different JDC event, or people from the Baltics, etc. And really easy, in 2 days you can spend $1,000 to do the only few ads, okay? And when people click, they get, Facebook get more than $1 per click, etc. So if you do the calculation, again, they have more than 100 million users. It's only $10 per user to get to this $1 billion. And actually, probably most of the Instagram users was much more. So those are the statistics today. More than 5 million photos every day. And this is I want to show you the video that I promised you. The parody about what happened if instead of stealing, you know, in the social network, Mark Zuckerberg is like stealing the idea, right? So what would happen if he stole the idea from Instagram and not from Facebook?
Pictures on my iPhone with filters and only let some people see them.
Why?
Because apps are exclusive and fun, and they lead to a lower battery life. People want to go online and look at pictures. Why not offer an app that's just pictures of food, skies, sunsets, and food? Taking the entire experience of eating sushi and putting it online with a filter.
This picture of ice cream got 22 likes in 5 minutes?
22,000 likes.
This idea is potentially worth $1 billion to the right moron.
He stole our app. They're saying we bought Instagram for $1 billion.
I know what it says.
So did we?
$1 billion isn't cool. You know what's cool? $1 bazillion.
We're to put pictures of grass online faster than any of us ever
Pictures
imagined.
of grass.
We'll sue him in federal court.
I can't wait to stand over your shoulders and watch you tweet.
If you were the inventors of Instagram, you would have invented Instagram.
Is there anything that you need to tweet me?
Your lunch photo could have permanently destroyed everything I've been working on.
We've been working.
Do you like filterless pictures? Do you want to go back to that?
more? Any one of these drinks could be a picture.
You're being accused of uploading stupid pictures, adding unnecessary filters, pretending to be Ansel Adams at brunch.
Your best friend is suing you for 600 million followers.
As for my worthless meal photos, I believe I deserve some recognition from this world.
I'm sorry?
Yes,
I don't understand.
it's art.
Yeah, so this movie didn't happen, but in some word it could happen. So that's my last slide, okay? And yeah? What? I can't understand. What?
This slide?
This slide? Did I do this?
Shaker.
Check it?
Shaker שעושה ככה לסתום.
Oh, I don't know.
Not anybody can understand it, I guess.
Okay. We'll see later. Okay. So I want to say that was a nice pause. So I want to say something that is totally different than the rest of the slideshow. So I was explaining about all the good reasons and what they did so well, Instagram, to be such an exciting company. But now I want to say something which will bring, I hope, will bring you guys good hope. And it's that there is no groundbreaking technology behind Instagram, okay? The technology is really simple. They had no startup management experience before. They had only 6 employees for most of the time, and then they grew to 10 employees. And it wasn't the first photo application, as we said. So what I'm trying to say is that even if you think about a nice idea, and you think, oh, I have so many competitors, and I don't know how to do it, and I never did a startup, and I don't know how to do technology, it shouldn't stop you from trying, because these guys really didn't have experience or anything else. So thank you and have a nice trip home.